Thursday's vote off the House floor is a significant hurdle to get property tax reforms before voters this November. House Speaker Daniel Perez says this is a turning point in this year's legislative session.
Show the bill passes.
This may well be the most aggressive legislation ever passed by a legislative chamber on property taxes in the history of the United States.
In a vote down party lines, the Florida House approved a proposed constitutional amendment that cuts non-school property taxes on homesteaded properties across the state. Right now, it's the only plan that's moved.
We continue to be open to any of the Senate's ideas, provided those ideas ever materialize as actions.
Governor Ron DeSantis criticized the House version on social media before the vote, saying he's working with the Senate on a plan, saying it can't be voted on by the people before November. It's better to do it right than to do it quick.
Our actions today are not sudden, nor do they meet any reasonable definition of the word quick.
The governor pushed this topic into the forefront of our political conversation over a year ago.
The governor and Senate President Ben Albritton have been leaning towards putting property taxes on the ballot during a special session.
You know, we're still doing what I've committed to doing the entire time, and we're still looking very closely at this.
Cutting property taxes has been the Republican response to Florida's affordability crisis.
This is absolutely the most conservative version that we have, and it puts the most money back into the pockets of Floridians.
The Florida Constitution has property taxes as a way to fund local government and requires voters to make changes in a constitutional amendment with 60% support. Many counties and local governments are worried about how they'll be able to provide essential services.
It's a unbalancing of the equation of how we are going to fund local government, and including the discretionary services once we get past those required core essential services, which include public safety, that include senior services.
The proposed amendment would prevent local governments from cutting law enforcement and fire services amid rising costs.
For some of the smaller cities or boutique law enforcement divisions to go and work through the sheriff's office. And so there's ways to gain efficiencies and look for creative ways to reduce spending.
Raising concerns, the idea could become unconstitutional.
Get a grip. There's going to be a reckoning, representatives.
This should be about the local communities, the people in those communities, deciding what level of service they have for public safety and who provides them that public safety.
There's still a lot left up in the air with GOP leaders still at odds with each other. But one thing they do agree on is that they will get one question before voters in November. At the state capitol, I'm Cody Butler reporting.